All right. Did anybody bet on the coin toss? I'm not going to fault anybody who does something like that. Yes, betting on the coin toss will always be minus EV because it's a 50-50 proposition, but you're paying the juice on it. So, but people who are going to make a bet on that, they're just betting for fun. There's no need to get onto those types of people for making such bets. That's the thing, even I have my moments every year where I just say to hell with it and just bet for fun. It's usually almost always the first college football weekend of the season. We'll all do things like bet parlays and teasers and all that. But it's more, you bet those types just to get it out of your system. Wow, the stadium actually looks probably about 50% full. Not bad. But just to get that out of your system because every time I do that, I always end up losing money. It never ends. I never end up winning enough of those parlays and teasers and everything to justify doing it. But it serves as a reminder that those bets are actually not fun because everyone says I'm going to bet parlays and teasers and everything like that for fun, right? It makes it more enjoyable. But here's the deal: most of the time, when you place like a 10-team lottery ticket parlay, the first game loses. What's fun about that? What's fun about that? So I'm kind of skeptical at people who say that the betting parlays and teasers are for fun, but it is what it is. Like I even do it. I gotta admit, it's fun to place the bets, but then when the first leg loses, which almost always happens, that's what it is. But anyway, the game has started. I agree. Winning is fun. The game just started. I am on Ohio State plus 270. So I haven't I don't know if I've officially announced it because I shut my Twitter account down and everything. But the main way I'm going to communicate with my audience now, outside of this YouTube channel, is my website sportsbettingtruth.com. And I actually just tried to go to it, and for some reason it's not redirecting properly. So I'm going to fix that right now. But yeah, I set up a blog, sportsbettingtruth.com/blog. That's going to be my main method of communication with everybody. And today I made a post on there about, what I'm going to be on for this game, which is Ohio State money line plus 270. So I'm locked in on that. Either way, no matter what happens, I had a winning college football season for a fourth straight year. I'm very surprised. I was, before the year, I was like, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But it happened, and I couldn't be more satisfied with how that played out. All right, so Ohio State's already facing a 3rd and 8. Quite a different start to the Clemson game where they were just firing on all cylinders. Wow, Fields going to get sacked. Yep. 3 and out. Yeah, I watched the playoff games at Circa, both of them, both blowouts, unfortunately. But it was an interesting atmosphere watching the game at Circa. I usually do that. I did that last year. I went up to Las Vegas for the big college football games. I did it for the playoffs last year in Alabama LSU. I like the atmosphere, but I wanted to do this tonight, the live stream, so that's why I'm here. So I need to go to my website and fix this redirect. Because if you try to go to sportsbettingtruth.com right now, it just comes up blank. So I think one of my redirects got messed up. So let me fix that. All right. So the question of this game was always going to be whose offense is going to be better. So, but I think no one's talking about the defenses. Really, neither team has the usual elite defense that they normally have because that's just the way college football has gone. It's all about offense these days, and so it's really who can get the most amount of turnovers, most amount of stops, everything, force field goals. But I still feel like the defenses are going to be the story of this game. And Devontae Smith that wasn't Devontae Smith, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see things a little bit low scoring to start off, especially with the layout. That's the thing. 10 days is a long time off. It kind of, especially when you get out of your routine and everything. I couldn't imagine when we were on the Rose Bowl when I played at TCU. I couldn't imagine having to do a game after that. All the emotion that went into that game. Not to mention you already have a long layoff. There goes Devontae Smith for a long gain. But you already have a long layoff between your last regular season game and your bowl game. which it's a long time. And you only get so many practices in that time frame. It's not like you can practice every day for that time frame. You have a limited number of practices that the NCAA allows you. So it could be, especially around Christmas time when you're still having to be on campus and everybody else has gone home and it's empty. It's just, you get out of your routine. And a big thing about football is a routine. It really is. Does anyone remember the 2000? I'm old enough to remember. I was 18 at the time. I was a freshman at TCU. But does anyone remember the 2007 college football BCS championship game between Ohio State and Florida, and how Ohio State was a pretty decent favorite, and they ran back the opening kickoff for a touchdown? Does anyone remember that? And Ted Ginn Jr. runs it back for a touchdown. They're up 7-0 right off the bat, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is going to be a blowout." And then Florida just dominated from there on out. Does anyone remember that besides me? Because I could, what if Alabama scores here on their opening drive and everyone's like, "Oh, it's going to be a blowout"? I would wait. If either team gains a double-digit lead here in the first half, I wouldn't write anything off yet. I really wouldn't. Let it all play out. Okay, I'm on my website management. Where's the redirect page? There it is. I don't know why it did that. Why? I never deleted a redirect, and it says there are no redirects configured for your account. Okay, now let's see if that redirect worked. Nope. Okay, now it does. All right, so you can go to sportsbettingtruth.com now. By the way, I rebooted my sportsbettingtruth.com site with my college basketball stuff on there. It's probably pretty confusing for most people, but it is what it is. I have a blog post explaining it all. I'll probably do a video walkthroughing it as well. Yeah. I mean, right now, Alabama, but here's the deal with opening drives of a football game is that they're scripted. The opening drive of a football game is 100% scripted based on the film breakdown and everything. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we think they're going to do, and this is why we're scripting it this way. Ohio State's scripted opening drive was a bust. They only got, 2 yards? But Alabama's scripted opening drive right now looks pretty good. So the question is, will Ohio State be able to adjust? Okay, that's a tackle for loss. So that's the thing. I remember when we played Utah, my senior year, we played at Utah. It was on game day and everything. We were both undefeated. Our first 3 or 4 drives are completely scripted because our offensive coordinator was like, "Okay, here's what we're going to do first, and here's how they're probably going to adjust, and then we're going to do this." And we scored 20 points in our opening 4 drives. So how long the script goes on just depends on if it plays out as you expected it to. Yeah. You can't defend that right there. You can't defend that right there. That third down conversion Alabama just had. By the way, I'm drinking a shake. So my thing every year is after the holidays and everything, I always go on a weight loss diet and workout program because I have it's hard to eat right during the holidays. It really is. And so just do what you got to do during the holidays. Don't worry about all that, and then afterwards you can cut it all off. And that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm drinking a shake, and it's kind of weird because shakes and smoothies are a major part of my diet when I'm trying to lose weight. And sometimes I come up with concoctions that are pretty gross. I had one that gave me food poisoning, and I wasn't even trying to lose weight at the time. This was a couple months ago, but I was up all night with food poisoning because of a shake I made. It was like coconut milk and pineapples and coconut flakes and almonds, and it was and bananas. I don't know what part of that gave me food poisoning, but ugh. So I kind of rolled the dice with this shake right here. All right, so Alabama's going to have a 3rd and 5. So I kind of rolled the dice with this shake right here, but it actually turned out pretty good. So I have chocolate protein powder, bananas, powdered peanut butter, cocoa powder, oatmeal, walnuts, ice, almond milk. I'm probably forgetting something, but it actually turned out pretty good. It's not bad. I was kind of worried there. I was like, this might be gross, but no, it's actually pretty good. But it's a big shake. I have the blender in here too because I couldn't fit it all in this 32-ounce cup. But yeah, shakes and smoothies are a big part of my weight loss diets when I do them. Ooh, is that a touchdown? Oh, they called him short. They're going to go for it. But the guy who caught that pass is Slade Bolden. I remember TCU was recruiting him very heavily, and we thought he was going to go to TCU because he's only a 3-star recruit, and it came down to LSU, Alabama. Yeah, that's a touchdown. But no, it's not. The ball never crossed the pile. Yeah, the ref made a good, barely. But yes, TCU. We thought Slade Bolden was going to be a frog because he was, he was a 3-star. I was like, he might not play at Alabama. Probably, at TCU he could have been a star, but he surprised us all by picking Alabama. So, and looks like it worked out for him. All right, first commercial break of the night. Yeah, you guys think that was a touchdown? It's very close. I think the call on the field's going to stand. All right, so I guess during commercial breaks I could show off some other things. So I updated my college basketball scoreboard. There are a few games going on tonight, including games I bet on. So let me switch over to that. So here's my new college basketball scoreboard where I can keep track of all my different model types. So only a few games going on tonight, as you can see. I already won 2 of them. I bet on Temple plus 12 and over in that game, and both of those hit. But I did bet on the Temple money line as well, and they didn't pull that off. But if it's blue, if it's light blue, it's a game that I bet on that's in progress, and if it's darker blue, then it's a game that I bet on that's final. If it's yellow, it's a game I didn't bet on that's in progress. If it's white, it's a game I didn't bet on that's final, and if it's gray, it's a game I didn't bet on that hasn't started yet. But yeah, the story so far since I moved to this 6-model approach in college basketball has been the blender. It's been the best model like almost every day since I started it a few days ago, and that's the case again tonight. See, I ranked them over here, and look, blender's number 1. Yeah, that's been the case. Blender's done very well. So what I do is that over here, I have weights, and so the current projection is based on these weights. So right now I have an equal distribution across all 6. So it takes so all 6 methods have an equal influence on the current projection, right? So really, if I were to just change this to 1 and everything else 0, so if I put blender as 1 and everything else 0, which I'll do right now just to show you what I'm talking about, then the projection would be entirely based on how the blender sees it, right? So I have Indiana State plus 7, money line, and over in this game. The over looks dead. Or did I have over? It's not showing up as blue over here. If it's blue over here, it's a game I bet on, and it's not, so maybe I don't have the over. Yeah, I actually don't, so that's good. I'm glad. So I have Indiana State plus 7 and money line in that game. And they're down by 6. So that's my new kind of college basketball spreadsheet that I'll show off on live streams to live bet with, but that's not what the subject of the stream is. That was just a commercial break thing. So let's go back to the game. 4th and goal. So the call stood on the yeah, you can ask any questions you want on the stream, and they scored. So Alabama first blood. Yeah, ask any questions you want on the stream. Yeah, don't we all wish we had money? More money. So yeah, Alabama strikes first, which is no surprise. I think a lot of people. I know one of the prop bets. So Westgate was offering props, not player props, but props. And I know one of them was first score to be a touchdown was minus 500, and that happened. So let me open my Westgate book and Circa book as well, and we can talk about props. He got in. These apps are a pain, by the way. They're so inconsistent. Sometimes it just says, times out when you're trying to log in and everything. All right, so I'll look at what the live line is right now. They don't have one. They have college basketball live lines on there right now. All right, so the live line right now for Ohio State and Alabama is Ohio State plus 14, over 74.5, and plus 375, minus 550 are the money lines. If Ohio State gets up to I don't know. I already have Ohio State plus 270, so I could definitely do a hedge opportunity if Alabama gets plus money at any point tonight. But I don't like the plus 14 right now. I want to see how their first drive goes. So as of right now, I'm not going to play any of those live bets. Let me see what Circa has, see if they have anything different. I haven't signed up for BetMGM yet. You could have got Alabama minus 110 money line today. That must have been a promotion. How long until gambling is legal all over the U.S.? Hopefully sooner rather than later. But there's so much I don't think people understand how deep the lobbying goes. Like, for example, casinos are illegal in Texas, right? You know who the biggest lobbyist is to keep gambling illegal in Texas? It's the Indian casinos in Oklahoma. Because if casinos became legal in Texas, then they would all pretty much go out of business. If you ever go up to any of those Oklahoma Indian casinos right across the Red River from on the Texas-Oklahoma border, you go into the parking lot, it's all Texas license plates there. So there's a lot of regional lobbying when it comes to all that stuff. Man, I still hasn't logged into my Circa app yet. It's so annoying. There's always a connection error with my Circa app. I can never get into it. Yeah, it looks like, I don't know, 40 to 50% capacity. Should be 100%, but, whatever. All right, I'm in. All right, so right now I can't see what Circa's offering. Only during commercial breaks. So Circa, one thing they don't really offer is live betting. Like, Westgate destroys Circa when it comes to live bets. Like, the only live bet that Circa has right now is this game. But Westgate has college basketball, NBA, and this game. So Westgate is definitely above Circa when it comes to that. Yeah, $50 limits. Yeah, that's a thing. Always look at limits when it comes to stuff like that. If the limits are that low, $50 and but it's not just for promos like that. I've seen limits that low for opening college football lines before. They so badly want to be first, to come out with the first college football lines on Sunday afternoon that they come out with the lines, but they attach really low limits to it and wait for Chris or whoever to come out with their lines. a last 5 game approach. I'll cover that on the next commercial break. All right, so Ohio State's dry. They're facing a 3rd down again, but it's not a 3rd and 10 like last time. So I don't know. Ooh, a corner safety blitz that did not pan out. He blitzed the wrong gap. So they got a 1st down. So that's a big deal. I don't think people understand how big of a deal getting that 1st down is. Yeah, that shake actually turned out pretty good. Yeah, David Lanigan, I guarantee you it's the states that border Ohio that are pushing to keep gambling illegal in Ohio. Guarantee it. Ooh, Justin Fields had a guy. That was a 1st down if he didn't overthrow him. Let's see. Yeah, that's he would just have to make one man miss, and that could have been a touchdown there if he didn't overthrow him. Yeah, I don't get why the coaches are bothering with masks. I don't. Like, they're not even wearing them over their nose anyway. Ooh, so you see, those are the types of throws that they need to make right there. Like, I wonder what these coaches do when it comes to masks and everything when they're in practice, when there's no cameras or outside people there to, like, see if people are wearing masks or not. I bet they don't wear them at all. I bet they only have masks on during the games because they know the cameras, people are going to be watching on TV. Chris Olave. All right. So, in-game wagering. See, I bet the Ohio State live line is down now because they're moving the ball. Gosh, these apps are terrible. So frustrating to use. I'm just going to stick to Westgate. Oh, one-handed catch. One-handed catch. That's the thing, like, one-handed catches are always a bad idea. Even if they catch it, it's like you still shouldn't have done that. Unless, like, you had no other choice but to reach out, which I think he did there. But I see too many wide receivers try to catch balls with one hand when they don't have to. Yeah, I think he could have two-handed that if... No, that was a good catch. But we used to have to do what they called broke dicks at TCU if we tried to catch a one-handed ball if we didn't need to. See, there's a touch. I should have taken the Ohio State plus 14. But we used to have to do broke dicks at TCU if we tried to catch a ball with one hand if we didn't have to. And Coach Fuente, who was our offensive coordinator at the time, he'd always say this, 2 hands for beginners. That was his phrase, 2 hands for beginners. I wonder what the live line is now. I bet it's going to just go back to +7 or +8 or whatever it was before the game started. I'm interested to see what the money line's going to be, though. I'm going to wait till it comes up. It should be coming up any minute now. Yeah, I bet this game. I have Ohio State plus 270. Appreciate it, Steven Angelino. So you got Ohio State plus 17. I only saw plus 14. They must have really bet that up to Alabama if you got that number. Commercial break. So I should see what they're offering live now. Yeah, it's got to be. I'm guessing it's right at what it was before the game started. Plus 270, minus 330 money lines. Gosh, this app times out all the time. It just said app timed out and takes me back to the main screen. The Westgate app, it's so inconsistent. Yeah, I had the NFL on in the background because the score is like 24-3 or something at the time. So and there's no time left. But I had it on this TV when I was doing stuff for my college basketball stuff, and I saw the catch and him go in the locker room afterwards. Yeah. Jeez, this is so unreliable. Because it says operation timed out. It's just ridiculous. Like, why is it timing out? It's because you don't have the bandwidth to handle all these people trying to see what the live bets are? I can't wait to see the dumb commercials we see. I hate commercials, especially during big events, because all they are stupid, touchy-feely commercials, you know? And we're probably going to get a heavy dose of that. Yeah, so this commercial break's almost over, and I still haven't been able to get into my Westgate app. I've never bet golf before. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what the problem is that so many people are trying to get onto it. Maybe I can get onto Circa and see what they're offering. All right, Circa's letting me log in at least. Okay, I'm in. I'm in Circa. Okay, so I can get Ohio State plus 9.5 right now at Circa. And the over is, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take plus 9.5. Let's do it. I'm taking that. Oh, it's... Whoa, crap. I didn't get it in time. Dang it. You know, that's the thing. Let's see if... Nope, it's not letting me do it at Westgate either. All right. Didn't get in on time. I was totally going to take 9.5. Yeah, hey, live at City View Sound, I'm planning on doing a Monte Carlo video soon. It's like you read my mind. Come on, come on. It takes so long to acquire location. It's on the board again, plus 9.5. Now it's plus 11.5. How do I cancel? I just canceled. I saw it go to 11.5, and I'm like, I'm canceling. It takes so long to acquire location, though, that it's pointless. You're absolutely right, especially with these apps that take forever. That's what it's doing. It's like acquiring location. I'm trying to get in at 11.5, and okay, now it's 12.5 while it's placing the 11.5 bet. How do I cancel? Oh man, I couldn't. So I'm in at 11.5, even though I could have got 12.5 if I did it a few seconds later. Oh well. Let's ride. Man. Ohio State's defense so far. Usually when a person like Devontae Smith gets that open, it's because he was probably in motion before the play and screwed up the defensive alignment. That's my guess. Yeah, they have Devontae Smith at the top of the screen right now. Quick out. Yeah. Like, they just need to force field goals. Like, whoever forces the most field goals in this game's going to win. Yeah. What was the total going in this game? 70, 72, 71? I don't do college football totals. Swing pass to Devontae Smith. Oh, is that a face mask? It was close. Yeah, I play live at City View Sound. I plan on doing like a Monte Carlo video where I explain how Monte Carlo simulations work. Toss. They just ran a toss. That was my favorite play when I was in middle school. Because all the way up through middle school and high school for me, we ran a wishbone offense and we never passed. So all we do is run the ball, right? And so in games like Madden, I would recreate our playbook, which is all running plays, and I'd always run the toss. We're going to have an injury timeout. All right, I told somebody I was going to talk about waiting. So, I don't do this for college football. Like, my college football model is very elementary compared to my baseball and basketball ones. But in baseball and in college basketball, I weight more recent games more heavily. Not that much more heavily, though. So I've explained this on a live stream before, but in college basketball, a team's most recent game is going to get a certain amount of weight more than their first game. And it caps at 4. But it doesn't get up to 4 until 20 games have been played. So basically a team's 20th game will get 4 times the weight in the statistical average as the first game they played. And I also do that for the individual stats as well. You know, that way you can capture trends and everything. Like if a team figured something out or if a team had a player get hurt and, you know, they're not as good. So, yeah, that's what I do. I don't know if it makes that much of a difference or not, but it's just what I do. I haven't seen any dumb commercials yet. I was really thinking we were going to see some dumb commercials. So far, I really haven't, though. Yeah, so live at City View Sound, you're doing a Monte Carlo simulation in Excel? Yeah, you'd have to do it with a macro. Yeah. He is right. Tom Labate is right. If you're going to do Monte Carlo run in Excel, do application.screen updating equals false before you run it. And yeah, turn off automatic calculations. Yeah, David Lanigan, you make a good point because the thing is that when I was in middle school, especially 7th and 8th grade, like all the middle schools ran the same kind of offense because both the high schools we fed into ran like, either a wishbone or I formation. So yeah, no one ever really passed. Like it was very like if we called a pass play, especially in junior high, it was a big deal. And I remember we called, it happened maybe twice a game. And I remember when I was in 8th grade, that was the first time they called a pass play with me in the game. And the quarterback underthrew it. It got intercepted. I'll never forget because, that was a big deal. Especially in junior high when we had, 100 guys on the team and, 60 wide receivers. So it was a big deal for me to be picked to go in as on the pass play. Yeah, the quarterback underthrew it. All right, so here's a question. Can Ohio State... So are they going to go for it here? That's a question. Yeah, I would really recommend doing a Monte Carlo run in R or Python, but I haven't taught how to use those on my channel before. I plan on doing an R series where I teach the basics of R, but it's intimidating to think about because there's so much to cover, and I'd have to determine what's important. I don't know, man. The total... Yeah. So, for someone like me, really, is playing defense was a big deal because if you're we played both ways in junior high, but I was a wide receiver. We had a lot of sets that had no wide receivers at all. So obviously, defense was what I focused on, and at that age. My favorite place to eat in Las Vegas. I have a video where I show my 3 favorite places. I do. But it's... Ooh, that was a stuff. Nice stuff. All right, end of the first quarter. So my favorite place to eat in Las Vegas, Giordano's for pizza, Chicken Shack for wings, Juan's Flaming Fajitas for Mexican. My favorite buffet is Studio B at the M for lunch and dinner, and the one at Red Rock, the Feast Buffet at Red Rock for breakfast. But all the buffets are closed right now. And I'm not going to any of these places right now anyway because, like I said, I'm trying to lose weight. But my dad helped me move stuff in here, and so we went to all those places when he was here. So I've been to all of them within the past couple of weeks. Not the buffets, though, but... As outside of those 3, it depends. One thing I haven't really found around here, nor have I really tried, I haven't really tried to find a good barbecue place. For burgers, there's a restaurant called Fat Boy that's pretty good. It's like a hole-in-the-wall place, but they have really good burgers. It's called Fat Boy. They have one on Boulder Highway, and they have one over in Henderson by Green Valley Ranch. There's a place called Scenic Brewing Company that has really good sliders. And there's a place called Nacho Daddy that has pretty good nachos. But the thing with nachos is that if I'm going to eat nachos, I'm going to make my own because I feel like I make the best nachos. I've thought about opening up a food truck with my nacho recipe. I made them for my, when my mom's husband passed away a couple months ago. All my mom's family came in for the funeral, and so I made nachos for that, and they're all saying I should open a food truck with the recipe. They were a big hit. Yeah, Giordano's deep dish, that was my dad's favorite. Of all the places I took him when he was here a couple weeks ago, his favorite was Giordano's. Their deep dish is really good. Just you have to call ahead, because it takes a while for them to make it. Yeah, that's my tip if you're going to go to Giordano's. If you're going to eat inside the restaurant and not take it out with you, call ahead. Get it started. That way you're not... otherwise, you're sitting there for 45, 50 minutes. And that's if it's not busy. Yeah, I agree about Lee Corso. He can't even understand what he's saying half the time. What got me into data analysis? Gosh. I learned how to computer program when I was like 12, just like for fun. Like not anything hardcore, but I learned the basics of it. And it was honestly Ken Palm's website. Like I found his website in like 2003 or 2004, and I was really interested in how it worked. I got really into like stuff like bracketology and all that. And so I wanted to create my own rating system to like justify like my bracketology selections. And it kind of caught on from there. I got really into that type of stuff. That's going to be a touchdown. That was a good play on third down right there. That was a good play, I got to admit. But yeah, so like when I was at TCU playing football, I was always kind of like the go-to reference for like, statistics. Like coaches would always come up to me, if they needed like me to answer a statistical question. And then when I moved to Las Vegas for the first time back in 2012, that's when I started to try to create models. Because when I first got to Las Vegas and was betting, I was betting with my eyeballs and my gut, and I was losing because you're not going to win with that method. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to not lose anymore, I need to come up with a better method. And that's when I started to try to build models. But it's always been a work in progress. It really has. I've been doing this. I've been building models for 8 years now, and I still learn new stuff every day. Yeah, that was a really nice play design on third down. All right. I bet the live line jumped back up to 14. 13 and a half. I've had people approach me to become touts for them. Like I've had tout companies approach me and be like, "Hey, will you be a handicapper for us?" And I don't even respond. Because I was like, if they really wanted me to be a part of their operation, they would have done research on me beforehand and learned that I hate touts. Yeah, I don't even respond to those people. All right, can Ohio State respond? So it looks like they had it figured out on that last drive. It really does. And that's why I took that plus 11.5 or that 11.5 bet, because I was like, okay, I think they got it. Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer, Jacob or however you say your name. You could make the case for not waiting at all. So you can get Ohio State plus 14.5 now. Plus 17.5. You can get it at plus 17.5 now. Here I am being a sucker getting in on 11.5. I still feel pretty good about that, though. Third and 7. What does Ohio State have drawn up here? Talk about threading the needle. Man, he threaded the needle there on that third down. Not only that, but he picked up the blitz. That's underrated. He made the throw and made the catch, but picking up the blitz is what made that possible. I do the opponent adjustments in the last 5 separately. Do your adjustments first, and then factor in the weight. Yeah, so my college basketball model, the process, I do the adjustments and then the weights. But then I don't redo the adjustments after I do the weights. I don't do that. Although sometimes I wonder maybe if I should. I took 11.5. I still feel good about that. So if you can get 12.5, then go ahead. Plus or minus standard deviation of 2-point percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage, turnovers to understand the variability of a team's performance. You know, I'm interested to see how that turns out. I want to say, though, over the span of enough simulations, you'll still get the same result as you would if you didn't do that. I say that because I thought about doing that with tempos, Tom. I thought about doing that with tempos. Like, I project an expected tempo for the simulation in basketball. But then I thought about, like, okay, randomly doing plus or minus a standard deviation off that tempo for the simulations. But I was like, well, over enough simulations, it's going to come back the same anyway. Only the range is going to be greater. Well, I factor in home and away in my. So with my statistics, for your second point, my statistics that I do for college basketball, I neutralize them, meaning I'm doing the adjustments, I neutralize the stats, meaning I take the home advantage out of it. So my final stats. So I'm going to show. It's a commercial break. I'm going to go ahead and show this. So my final stats. So this data frame right here is the final stats for my college basketball model, and so all what these stats represent, they're neutralized, meaning home advantage has been taken out. So, for example, Santa Clara's offensive efficiency in this data frame is 0.95, and basically what that says is that their offensive efficiency against a neutral on a neutral court against the league average team would be 0.95. That would be their expectation. And then you apply home advantage in on the back end. That's what I do in my adjustments is I take out the home advantage influence for stats. You neutralize them. Let me see if I can find that in my code. Here's the code where I calculate home advantage. And then, so while I'm doing the adjustment, so here's the adjustment function. So here I am calculating macro home advantages. And so right here, if the teams, so I do it game by game. So if the active team location was a home game, which is what that means, then I divide it, their stat in the game by the national home advantage. I take it out. So if Santa Clara played a home game and their offensive efficiency was 1.1, right? And the national offensive efficiency for home teams is 1.01. So I do 1.1 slash the ab, which is 1, slash 1 minus 1.015287 minus 1. And it would down adjust to 1.84713. That would be their neutralized stat for the game. And that's what I do. Hope that helps. Man, they're not picking up number 6. Ohio State's not picking up number 6. Yeah, that's what I noticed is that Alabama was blitzing every play. And it got to Justin Fields enough to where they had to punt. But how are they not accounting for number 6? That is true. He's not getting pressured at all. Well, he is there. And he fumbled. All right, see, that's good. That's good for my money line. And that's good for my plus 11.5. What was the line before that fumble? What was the line before that fumble? I was saying they're not getting any pressure, and then all of a sudden they got pressure because they blitzed the safety. Yeah, they had to bring extra pressure, and it paid off. The safety blitz paid off. So he got not only a sack, but also a fumble, like Baron Browning. So Baron Browning is from Kennedale, Texas. His dad played for TCU, so Kennedale is maybe 20 minutes from TCU's campus. We recruited him very hard, but TCU has never been able to get legacies like that. By legacies, I mean the sons of former TCU players who are very highly rated recruit rank-wise. We can never get them. It seems like every time there's a highly ranked recruiting prospect that's a TCU legacy, they don't go to TCU. Oh, they had him. Oh, that's pass interference. All right. Interference in the end zone. Ohio State plus 10. So who in this chat is not on Ohio State? I'm interested. Yep. When in doubt, Jacob, back test. That's what I say, back test. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, but it can answer questions. Like for my ATM model, which I use in football, and now I'm using it again in basketball, I have to do so much back testing to determine the cutoff. In my blog post about my new college basketball model, I explain in detail what the ATM is, but there's a cutoff. And I had to do a lot of back testing, so there's a touchdown. I had to do a lot of back testing to determine that cutoff. Like a painstakingly tedious amount of back testing. Yeah, Damon Forbes, that would not surprise me. Falcon Falcon Claw. I always thought you were like a Filipino or something, and now I just realize your name is Falcon Claw. But what was the first half under, if you don't mind me asking? Was it 35.5? Yeah, I wouldn't. I would be more surprised, Damon, if Alabama ran away with this game than Ohio State. Like something, I just have a hunch that Ohio State's gonna win this one. Not only gonna win, but are gonna win by a lot, kind of like they did against Alabama in 2014. Trey Sermon went to the hospital for what? I'm going to have to look that up. I don't see anything on ESPN. Oh, man, Indiana State ended up losing in basketball, and they didn't cover, so it's a double whammy. So I had a losing night in college basketball. The blender is the only profitable model method tonight out of the 6. I should more heavily weight the blender. Yeah, Ian Money, my blog at sportsbettingtruth.com/blog is my new place where I'm communicating with my audience. I think the first half under has a good chance of cashing Falcon Claw. I do. Okay. No, not yet, Falcon Claw. I would say I'm probably down probably 5 units on the season. My new approach has shown promise. I did really well on Saturday to help close that gap because it was a lot more than 5 units before Saturday, but I had a really good Saturday to close that gap. But the last 2 days, I've lost 1.8 units combined. I went 4-4 last night, but and lost like 0.7 units, and then I lost 1.1 units today. Good to know, Bubbarito. Yeah, you gotta, like I said, you gotta enjoy this type of stuff. A lot of people just want to be told what to do. Like they don't want to put in the effort. They just want to be told what games to bet on, and that's why the tout industry exists. And that's why YouTube channels that offer no actual advice, where there's someone who might not be a tout, but they are, a lot, people don't want to put in the effort. For some reason, this championship game, well, I think we all know the reason, but it just doesn't feel that important. It doesn't have the fanfare that the past has had, and we know why, but still. And I felt the same way watching the playoff games yesterday, too, for the NFL. I wonder how March Madness is going to be. All right, so let's see if Alabama can. So Ohio State stopped him by getting him to turn the ball over. Jeez. Number 6 is so good. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, AD man 2B. I've noticed that a lot of people just want like I've noticed that there's two types of people when it comes to having an online sports betting presence. You have your touts who are in it to try to make money by selling picks. And then you have your people chasing fame. By that I mean they want to go on a run and become really good at picking games and like gain a following and have people worship them and tell them how great they are and everything. They're chasing the fame. And then you have people like me who are honest about it all and are just trying to give actual advice that isn't sugar-coated. I've always said that people would rather be told a comforting lie than a hard truth. And that's the case with sports betting, online. I'm the one who gives out hard truths. Others give out sugar-coated lies. Man. So if they're not turning the ball over, they're moving the ball. So you can get Ohio State plus 8.5 right now. What do you mean by semi-intricate Monte Carlo model? I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, people want to be worshipped. Like, I hate the website Reddit, by the way. It's horrible, but I used to go to their sportsbook subreddit, and there'd be some college basketball guy on there that wasn't a tout, but he pretty much marketed himself as one by the way he posted his college basketball picks, and he gained like a huge following, and people would like literally worship him. That's a touchdown, probably. Yep, touchdown. But it got so annoying to the point where if you like said anything negative about this guy, that you would get heavily downvoted. And people acted like he was a god at picking college basketball, and he wasn't. He ended up the year like minus $20,000. But because he typed in all caps and tried to swing a big stick when it came to his college basketball pick posts, Yeah, I still don't know what you mean by semi-intricate Monte Carlo model. Damon Forbes, I think you're absolutely right. You're right. I think you're right. Because I was at Westgate for a college football game last year. It was the day that LSU and Alabama played in the regular season, so it was packed. And there's some homeless-looking guy just making the rounds, shilling for some tout. He wasn't calling him by name, but he would like go up to like random tables and people and be like, "Hey, this guy's giving me 40 picks today, and I've won 38 of them. This guy's really good." And then he'd just keep walking, right? And so obviously what he was looking for is someone to like say, "Hey, who is this guy?" So obviously this homeless guy was being paid to go around the Westgate Superbook and talk about this mystery picker that picked 38 out of 40 games right. But I was like, all right, this guy came across my table at least 5 or 6 times. And I was like, why has security not kicked this guy out yet? I mean, he's a homeless-looking guy just walking around, going up to harassing people pretty much. Why have they not kicked him out yet? Could it be that there's a reason he wasn't being kicked out because the book wanted him in there making the rounds? That's the thing. I don't think people understand that a lot of these Las Vegas sports books have symbiotic relationships with touts. They do. Because the touts drive business to the books. The touts drive business to the books, so they have a relationship with them. And so the reason that homeless guy didn't get kicked out is because he was probably being paid to do that by a tout who had a good relationship with the Westgate. A Monte Carlo simulation is... I'm going to do a video on explaining what exactly it is. But my Monte Carlo simulation for basketball, for example, it takes all the stats and just, does an actual simulation of the game based on the probabilities of what happened, if the possession results in a turnover or a free throw attempt or a field goal attempt, and then determining the probability if it's a 2-point or 3-point attempt, and then determining the probability if it's made or missed, and if it's missed, if it's rebounded by the offense. So like a bunch of these expectation probabilities are calculated to come up with the final scores. Yeah. Basically, what a Monte Carlo is it's just a simulation. It's just Monte Carlo is just a name that is given, but it's a simulation. All right, can Ohio State respond again? What Ohio State needs to do is take the lead, which they haven't been able to do, obviously, because they've punted twice and Alabama has not punted. This is a big possession. So that time they ran the same safety blitz that they ran to force the fumble earlier, and that time it backfired on them with the wheel route. No, because it doesn't throw off my simulation because I account for all that. Here. I know that we have the game going right now, but I'll show you. That's the long run for Fields. All right, I'm going to transition over to R. So I showed this frame earlier. I track that. So this column right here, SR3, and this column right here, SR2, what those numbers represent is the percentage of possessions that result in a 2-point or 3-point attempt. So if I sort this one by highest to lowest, Wofford does lead the nation in 3-point attempts, but I factor all that in. So 53.8% of their possessions result in a 2-point attempt, and then 44.1% of their possessions result in a 3-point attempt. But I account for all that in my simulation. I gauge the likelihood of a 2 or 3-point attempt. So these are all things you just need to take into account, and also the defensive. So 50.4% of their opponent's possessions result in a 2-point shot, and 30.9% result in a 3. And so you can calculate expectation based on those numbers, because the national average 3-point rate is 30.8, right? So you just calculate expectation based on their offensive and defensive shot rates in your Monte Carlo run. All right, hope that helps. All right, Ohio State needs to cash in here. Whoever had the under 38, that's not looking great. Yeah, no, that's what I keep saying. I just don't think that the average person understands just how much of a relationship that touts and books have with each other. especially online books and touts. That's where the real money is at, but the stateside books have the relationships too. The Westgate allows touts like Kelly in Vegas to film videos in there. They would never let me film a video in the Westgate book. I take out a camera, the security's all over me. Like when I had to film that Circa review, like I was very secretive. But yeah, that's what I don't like is that sports books and touts have a relationship, and I feel like even non-tout sports betting people out there that have a bigger following than me, they're afraid to call the touts out. A lot of them have outright relationships with the touts and shill for them, but then there's other people who claim that touts are worthless, but they're not afraid. They're too afraid to call them out. They'll sugarcoat it. Like I saw one guy who's a pretty big name when it comes to sports betting, who's not a tout. He has a podcast, and someone asked him about buying picks, and he's like, "Oh, well, if you want to buy picks, then this, and this." He didn't endorse buying picks, but he didn't say it was a bad idea either. He tried to walk the fine line between the two. And that's kind of the issue I have with they're afraid to call it touts because they probably have a relationship with the touts. I really don't want to drink the rest of this shake, but gotta do what you gotta do. Come out. So yeah, I'm not gonna call that guy out by name because he. But yeah, someone asked him on his podcast. He's like, "Should I buy picks?" And the guy basically gave the pros and cons of buying picks. The answer should have been a straight no, but I think they're still going to kick here. It's not that far of a kick. Like, backup kickers are still pretty good. I remember when I was at TCU, we kept more than one kicker on the roster, and the backups were capable. It's not like, they were going to shank a extra point attempt. No, they could make field goals. Like, one of our backup kickers at TCU was a guy named Kevin Ortega, and he was the kicker for South Lake Carroll when they were on their tear of Texas state titles, right? And he made like a 55-yarder against Katy in the state championship game to win. So it's not like these guys are incapable. You mean Vanderbilt? A tout is someone who sells picks. Yep. Yeah. Like I've seen touts like the touts that people probably know about at the Westgate before. Like they're treated like VIPs there, probably because of all the business they drive there. And these touts also have radio shows in Las Vegas as well. What people don't know though is that people might think it's a regularly scheduled program for the radio station, but it's not. It's a paid advertisement. The touts pay for that airtime. I know because I used to work. Oh man, that's targeting. That's targeting. That's targeting. But yeah, I used to work in sports radio, and the touts that would come on, it all seems like a legitimate show. It seems like a legitimate show that's being produced by the station that just talks about sports betting, but it's not. It's an It's an advertisement. They buy the time block, and instead of running a commercial for an hour, they treat it like a legitimate show, but it's not. It's one giant advertisement for their tout operation. That's one of the main reasons I quit sports radio. Besides the fact you don't make very much money doing it, I couldn't. That's the main reason I hate touts. Yeah, that's targeting. But that's the main reason I hate touts because I used to work with them. I know how much of liars they are. Like, what you don't see is that, like, people would, I would produce these shows with the touts, and I would get the phone calls. I would be the call screener, and I would get the text message, because we had something called a tweet deck and a text message thing that we would get text message from the audience and tweets and everything, and you wouldn't understand how many phone calls and tweets and text messages we would get from people that were being ruined by these scam artists. Yeah, that's VISN or VSIN or whatever, Damon Forbes. Um, that radio studio, I think they have touts on those programs. I know they have one because when they used to have it at the D, when the circuit book was under construction and they used to have VSIN set up at the D, I remember I was there one night, and this is on my Las Vegas vlog I did last year, like day number 4, I think, or 5, the one where I went downtown. And there was a guy doing a radio show in the D who was a tout, and people were calling in as I was there in the D and talking about how great this guy was. People are calling in being like, man, you win me so much money. And he was a tout, straight up tout. I forgot his name, but yeah. They're not going to care if you win unless you A, do it consistently, and B, bet enough money. So if you're just going to visit, they're not going to care if you win, because unless you win consistently over a long period of time and bet a lot of money, then they'll start to care. And it also depends on the sport. I don't think they'll ever fear an NFL bettor. No matter how much you win, no matter how much you bet, no matter how long you win for, they're never going to fear you. But other sports like baseball, college basketball, hockey, yeah, they'll start to fear you if you're betting too much and winning too much. All right, Ohio State needs to punch it in here. The problem is that Alabama is getting the ball to start the second half. So I could see, regardless of what happens on this possession, Alabama running the clock out for the rest of this half. What Billy Walters did, the way he won money is no one else can do it. First of all, Billy Walters was already like a rich guy, right? So what Billy Walters did is he had people that he'd pay $4,000 a month to just sit at sports books all day. And if Billy Walters called that person up, they would place bets for him. Right? And so what Billy Walters did is he would get people to bet at the same time. So he'd get one person to bet, a lot of money on a side that would drive the line up, and as soon as the line moved, he'd bet that side too. So he was basically paying people to generate middle opportunities. Man, that should have been intercepted. That's how he did it. He would have people stationed all over the place to. That's why you're not allowed to use your phone at the betting windows, because that was the scam he operated. So Billy Walters and not Eighth Rothstein. That's the name in the casino. Sam, something Jewish. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Both of those guys won their money betting on sports, not by being good pickers, not by being good at picking games, but by Sam Rothstein, Ace Rothstein, whatever his name was in real life. I always forget his name. It's something Jewish. He would win he just had refs in his back pockets, players in his back pocket. He knew what the fixed games were going to be. He wasn't, he had his mob ties to know where the fixed games were at. He wasn't good at actually picking games. Like portrayed in the movie Casino, they acted like he was just good at picking games. He wasn't. And so, yeah, Billy Walters, he ran kind of like a scam almost to artificially generate middle opportunities. Frank Rosenthal, that's right. Yeah, I don't know why I always forget that. No, Billy Walters would have an equal amount of money on both sides, but he'd create a middle opportunity. So if he could get if he could get plus 4.5 and minus 3.5 at the same time, and the final result was 4, then he'd win both bets. He would do it mainly in football with the key numbers of 3 or 7. So if the number was on 3, he would bet a lot to drive the line up to 3.5, and then bet a lot on 3.5 to drive the line back down to 2.5. He'd bet both. He would just create artificial middle opportunities. No, what I've noticed with these small conference back-to-backs is that my model likes to pick the same side both days because one game, no matter what happens, isn't really enough to influence. Like, for example, one of the back-to-backs that my model is on both times was Evansville at home against Northern Iowa. And both times when my model picked Evansville, money line and spread, and both times the line was like plus 200, plus 6 in both games, and both times Evansville won outright. So what I've noticed is that the lines really don't move. Even though Evansville won the first game, like the line was the same the next day, which was interesting. But there is a weird thing that happened. Let me see if I have this data frame that I can show you. I should have it. Sideline warning. All right, so I'm going to transition over here. So this data frame is a ranking of all 3,004 college basketball games that have been played this year. And what it's ranking is what I call the game score. And the game score is adjusted offensive efficiency for the game minus adjusted defensive efficiency for the game. And so Wisconsin's 85-48 win over Louisville this year was the top game score game of the year. But then we have Colgate. They show up here twice. Colgate against Army, they won 101-57, and that was the second best game score of the year. I mean, that was a better game score than Gonzaga's 98-75 win over Virginia or Texas's 84-59 win over Kansas. Man, Ohio State cannot stop this. But the thing is, Colgate played this game on a Saturday, right? And they won 101-57. But then they played again the next day and they lost. So isn't that crazy? So they had the second best performance according to my model of the year, and then they play the same team, same place the next day, and they lose. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, I think the back-to-backs actually hurt better team because Colgate's probably the best team in the Patriot League, if not one of the best, but they might be the best. And so it allows a team like Army to figure them out, right? So I think it actually hurts teams like Colgate, who are better teams in their league, because it allows the other team to adjust very quickly, and then they lose the next day. But look at this, Boston U. Colgate and Boston U are the two best teams in the Patriot League, right? They were the preseason 1 and 2. Colgate beats them 89-45 yesterday. That's going to be a touchdown. Man, Ohio State just can't stop this offense. Yeah, so they should play again. They're not playing today. I don't know if they're going to play again tomorrow, but yeah. Colgate's been very inconsistent. Man, I'm starting to actually have doubts about my Ohio State. Outside of that turnover, they haven't done anything close to stopping them. That's a hold. Holding. I've always wanted to make an NHL model, but these things take time. It takes time to build and maintain a model. It really does. You can't overextend yourself when it comes to models. You got to pick your battles. I think the two markets that people should probably stay away from are NFL and NBA, and probably the Premier League. I know nothing about soccer, but it's got to be one of the most bet markets in the world, and therefore too efficient. Yep, yeah. The back-to-backs are weird. I don't like them. I think they're stupid, but so far I've had mixed results. Yeah, you want to. I would never. I advise to stay away from NBA, NFL, Premier League. Stick to the softer markets. You can find softer markets in baseball, NHL, college basketball, and college football in smaller conferences. Yeah, they've. This has been a pretty sad defensive effort. Notre Dame put up a lot better of a fight defensively than this. NBA is definitely, I think, tier one when it comes to markets are definitely Premier League and NFL. Those are 1, 2, and then I think there's an NBA is not on the same level, but NBA is also above MLB, NHL, the rest. Long teasers, I did a video on those. Some years they'll be profitable, some years they won't be. It just depends. If Ohio State could score a touchdown on this drive, then I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing to let Alabama score so quickly. Because if I was Ohio State, I'd be more worried about Alabama taking a long time to score a touchdown on that last drive and not giving Ohio State a chance to score before halftime. 36 units on 55 plays. Uh, I don't know. To be up 36 units on 55 over and under plays, you got to be about 46-9 on totals. I'm kind of skeptical on that one. That means you're hitting 84%. I'm going to be a little skeptical about that one. That's Was that not interference? That could have easily been defensive holding. Yeah, I agree. Trey Sermon being out is a big deal. If Alabama can go up 35-17 here by halftime, then things are not looking good for me. Was that not 12 men on the field? So they made that stop on third down with 10 guys. Oh, man. That's a block in the back that they missed. They missed a block in the back. Yep, this game's over, in my opinion, if they score here. Screen pass. Yeah, that's what they're going to do if they keep blitzing is the screen passes. That's been Ohio State's only way to get pressure. They're blitzing again. And another screen pass. I mean, I would keep running screen passes until they stop blitzing. Got to force a field goal here. All right, they're rushing 4. They have a man open. My question is why they have a linebacker covering number 6. That was just... Woo. I wonder what the live line's going to be now. My plus 11.5 is not looking so good. At least Ohio State has 2 minutes to do something. I wonder what the live line is now. I'm going to guess 24 and a half. Plus 20.5. I actually think the value is on Alabama there. Well, Ohio State is missing 2 defensive linemen. Kirk is making a good point. He doesn't trash talk, and that's a good point. That's something that drives me crazy about sports these days. There's a lot of trash talking and jawing, and I don't like it. I thought it'd be 24.5. So honestly, my gut says Alabama's a good one. Bradley's up on Northern Iowa. They were losing when I saw it, but I haven't checked since halftime. Okay, they're up 67-62. My model says they're going to win by about 4.9. I bet on Texas Southern and Prairie View A&M, yet it's not showing up on my spreadsheet. So yeah, Bradley in Northern Iowa. I was really interested to see what Bradley would have done in the NCAA tournament last year. They had a really good team that got off to a slow start with some injuries and everything, but when they were healthy, they were a good team. So they would have been one of those teams that were seeded too low because of their injuries that made them lose games in December and January, but when they were at full strength with all their guys, they were really good, and they didn't get to play in the NCAA tournament last year because of COVID. I had my eye on them. I thought they could have made a Loyola style run. That was a give up run right there. That they just Ohio State running the ball right there. That was what I call a give up run. You can bet tennis here. I just don't know anyone who does. I actually thought Dayton was gonna flame out early last year. They had a lot of hype behind them, but their defense was suspect. I actually had Dayton pegged as one of the teams I thought were actually going to lose rather early. Yeah, their defense would have caught up to them eventually. Yeah, that was a give up run right there by Ohio State. Notre Dame put up a better fight than this. Off-screen Kleenex. Injury timeout. Yeah, I took Prairie View plus or -2 and -135 this morning. It's just not showing up in my spreadsheet for some reason. I have Bradley up by 5 with 2 minutes left. Yeah. My Indy model is actually having a good night for a change. It's currently ranked number 1 out of 6. Loyola lost to Indiana State yesterday. I was on Indiana State money line and spread today, and they didn't win either. Yeah, my model is on Colorado today, but I didn't bet it. But 5 of the 6 methods were on Colorado. The only one that wasn't was the ATM. Do you think Alabama's going to try to score again before halftime? Here's what I think the moral of this game is. Clemson was not that good of a team. All right, I think Alabama's going to try to score. Yeah, it looks like they're not going to try to score. Yeah, I don't know if they can get to 31.5. I say that because they're not playing with a lot of confidence right now. So if Alabama scores to start the second half and goes at 42-17, I can just see them being like, you know what, to hell with it. This is looking a lot like my championship game bet. I bet on Clemson last year, money line, in the title game, and it was a lot like this. Yeah, bowl games are tough. I've had a good bowl season, but that's not always the case. Bowls can be very hit or miss. But I'm not good at betting championship games. I think I know I've lost the last 3 championship games betting wise. And then I think the last one I did win was 2018 when Alabama beat Georgia in overtime. I got that one right. So that was the last championship game I got right. I still don't fear Steve Sarkisian as the coach at Texas. I don't fear him. Yeah, I mean, I thought they were not going to try to score, but it looks like they are now. But they don't have any more timeouts, so it's still going to take a little bit of luck on their end to get it done. Is that an offsides? False start. Not that it matters. Like 5-yard penalties don't really matter for the Alabama offense. Oh, they have a guy open in the middle of the field. Oh, if Mac Jones had thrown the ball about a second earlier, he had him. Ooh. Where's this defense been the whole first half? The thing with Jim Harbaugh in Michigan is that who else are they going to hire? I mean, they've been a revolving door of coaching hires the past 10 years. Who else are they going to hire? That's my question. That's better. Who are they going to hire that's better? Texas and Michigan have the same problems, is that the fault is not the coaches, it's the administration. They make it impossible to succeed. That wasn't roughing the kicker. Not that it matters, but he didn't even touch him. All right, it is about to be halftime. So here's the thing for Ohio State in the second half. Obviously, you got to get a stop to start the second half. If they can do that, I think they're going to generate some momentum. That's critical. If they don't get a stop to start the second half, it's over. You just got to generate the momentum. Like, they don't even have to score after getting that stop. They just need to get a stop to get some momentum on their side. I wonder how long halftime's going to be. Right now it's 7:04. I remember I was living on the Eastern time zone in 2018 when Alabama and Georgia played. And I remember that game ended like well after midnight, like 1 in the morning or so. Who else is hurt for Ohio State? These guys are dropping like flies tonight. The Browns against the Chiefs? I mean, yeah, everybody has a chance in the NFL playoffs. I think Mac Jones would be a risk. Here's the deal. I don't think Joe Burrow was a number 1 draft pick last year. I don't think he was the best quarterback. And I don't think Mac Jones is either. The thing with quarterback draft picks is that they're all such a gamble. Like, look at how many number ones have just busted out recently. Even Baker Mayfield, he's playing a lot better now, but up until the season, he was, it was a question if he was going to pan out or not. And then you have guys like Patrick Mahomes that weren't even drafted in the top 15. I don't think Mac Jones would be he's probably moving up the draft board, yeah, but I don't think he's a surefire thing. I don't think Justin Fields is either. I could see Justin Fields, not working out. I think Trevor Lawrence is a safe pick. He has a very high ceiling. There's a chance he might not flash the highest upside. He might turn out to be like an Andrew Luck or Matt Stafford, who's serviceable and has a very high ceiling, but never are able to reach their full potential. That's how I see Trevor Lawrence. But as far as like quarterbacks that end up being like Hall of Fame caliber, look at all the guys who have fit that bill. Like Drew Brees was not a first-round draft pick. Tom Brady was not a first-round draft pick. Aaron Rodgers was not a first-round draft pick. So, yeah. Yeah, Mahomes is 10th, but wasn't he a trade? Didn't the Chiefs trade up to get him? I think Mac Jones is better than A.J. McCarron. A.J. McCarron was the definition of a game manager. I think Mac Jones is not a game manager. He's actually having to do stuff. But I just think he's more of a system quarterback than people think. Honestly, I was expecting the Browns to collapse last night, and they didn't. But they were playing a Steelers team that is just, something was wrong with them. The Chiefs, they can beat the Chiefs. Don't get me wrong, they can beat the Chiefs. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's not like the Chiefs are a juggernaut. Yeah, Phillip Rivers, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, but here's the deal with the NFL Hall of Fame. I feel like it's the Hall of Very Good. I think it's not selective. Like, the MLB Hall of Fame is pretty damn selective, right? Not the NFL Hall of Fame. A lot of people can get into that. So, yeah, Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer by NFL Hall of Fame standards. David Lanigan, I think you're right. I just think the Steelers are... Something happened to them after they lost their first game of the year. But they were, yeah. I don't know if it was psychological or what, but they just did not have what it took to win playoff games this year. Man, that shake is giving me like the hiccups. It took me the whole first half to drink it all. And honestly, it was good at first, but I just had too much of it. Dang near 48 ounces worth of a shake. I'm definitely feeling it. Well, Ben Roethlisberger threw, 5 interceptions? All right, during halftime, I want to show off what I've been working on today. I'm pretty excited about this. It's probably not that mind-blowing, but it's going to be a new addition to my college basketball stuff. And that is I'm making individual team pages. So you'll be able to access individual pages for each team. So this is Gonzaga's page. So right here, it's not done. This is still under construction, so there's some things that aren't right yet. But so we got the offensive stats, raw column and adjusted column, and then their national rank. And then I'm going to put the national average here. I just don't have that in a data frame yet. Defensive stats as well. And then we got the schedule, the season results. Opponents, opponent rank, location, raw game stats, and then the adjusted game stats, and then the game percentiles. So, for example, Gonzaga's game against Virginia was the 100th percentile adjusted offensive efficiency performance. So that was the best offensive game of the year when they scored 98 against Virginia. But then they played Portland the other night, and this is one of their only red tiles here, 9% percentile defensive performance, because they gave up 88 points to Portland in 75 possessions. That's not good. So that was a pretty lousy percentile performance, but they play at a fast tempo. They're ranked number 12 in tempo this year, so all their tempo tiles are orange. The G score is what I call the game score. It's simply adjusted OE minus adjusted DE. And all their game score percentiles except their second game against Northwestern State on December 22nd have been green. So this is Gonzaga, though, the number 1 team, so they're going to have a lot of green. And then I have the individual stats down here. These are opponent-adjusted individual stats, recency-weighted individual stats as well. So we got the following columns. Minute percentage. This is minutes in games they've played in, and then team minute percentage, which is a minute percentage in total team games. So obviously for Joel Ayayi, who has played in all 12 games, it's going to be the same. But Jalen Suggs missed 2 games. So in games he does play, he's played in 66.4% of the minutes of games he's played in. But when you divide that by 12 games, because he missed 2, it's only 55.3%. Usage, it's all 10s right now because I'm having an issue with this stat when I upload it to SQL. It gives me some error message about the usage column being out of bounds or something. The ranks are fine, so Drew Timme's usage rank is the highest. And then offensive efficiency, how many points they score per possession, effective field goal percentage. Corey Kispert is in the 98th percentile. Shot rate too. So Corey Kispert takes Drew Timme as well. He's in the 98.8% percentile. 21.6% of the possessions Drew Timme is on the floor results in a 2-point attempt from him. So every 5 possessions, he takes a 2-point shot. And then 2-point field goal percentage, which is adjusted as well. A lot of high percentiles there. And then the same thing with 3-point attempts. Their big 3-point guy is Corey Kispert. Three-point field goal percentage. Corey Kispert is a 95th percentile guy, making 45.2% of his attempts. This is adjusted, by the way. Free throw percentage. Free throw rate. I need to multiply this number. Shot rate free. Basically, this number is the percentage of possessions that the player takes a free throw. So Jalen Suggs, 6.8% of his offensive possessions result in him taking a free throw. Offensive rebounding percentage, defensive rebounding percentage, total rebounding percentage. Looks like their big rebounder is Joel Ayayi. He rebounds 15% of all missed shots when he's on the floor. Assist percentage of possessions that result in assist. Jalen Suggs is their big assist percentage guy. Turnover percentage of possessions that the player turns the ball over on. So Jalen Suggs turns it over a lot, 14.4 percentile. 5.6% of his offensive possessions result in a turnover, so about 1 in 16. Steal percentage. Jalen Suggs turns the ball over a lot, but he also steals the ball a lot. So he's a 99.4% percentile stealer. Block percentage, percentage of possessions that result in a block. Anton Watson's their blocker. Foul percentage of possessions that result in the player committing a foul. I have the percentile tiles backwards because I didn't rank it. I ranked it the wrong way. So what's red should be green. Offensive rating. This is another number that was gave me error message when I uploaded to SQL about being out of bounds or something. So everybody was 100. But the tiles are correct, though. So Corey Kispert is a 99.4 percentile offensive rating guy. The defensive rating is accurate. So if the player qualifies, they have the percentile tiles here that are color-coded. And since it's Gonzaga, you have a lot more green than red. But then you have players that don't qualify who don't have one down at the bottom. So these are going to be the individual team pages that I'm going to upload to the website when this is done. Pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. This way people can get more of an in-depth look at the teams, how they do, what their tendencies are, what their adjusted stats are. You get an under-the-hood look, because like what I have right now is it shows like my predictions and everything, but it doesn't show the actual stats of the teams, right? So this is all great right here, but you have to pretty much take my word for it. By seeing this right here, you can actually see what I'm feeding into the models. So Gonzaga's a good team, though. Just like with this, I rank these the wrong way. Gonzaga's not 324th in defensive efficiency, guys. I just rank the defensive stats the wrong way, where lower is better. Same with this one right here. Turnover, they're not 324th in turnover percentage, but likewise, I'm still working all this out. I just started working on this today. So this is actually a lot of progress for only about 3 or 4 hours of work. But yeah, I'm excited about this. Kind of like KenPom in a way. That's kind of what this is kind of like KenPom's team page, only mine's going to be free. Let's compare. I'm not a subscriber, by the way, so I'm going to have to use his guided tour. So here's what his team pages look like. So I do plan on color tiling the team stats, but pretty similar. But what he doesn't show is the game percentiles like I do. Like, I think that's kind of what set mine's apart. You can see how their performance ranked. And then I plan on doing another page that like expands on the percentile concept, but with all the stats instead of just these 4 stats, but with every stat that there is. And then his player stats, he shows, man, I'm like hiccups. He shows their national ranks. I show percentile. Because I feel like percentile is better because, like, okay, Marcus Shaver is ranked 415 in offensive rebounding percentage, but is that good or is that bad? Right here he says that's out of 2130. Okay. But I think percentile gives a better picture of where they rank in their stats. And he also splits it out by usage. I don't do that. I could if I wanted to, but I don't. He also shows a depth chart. I'm probably not going to do this. I feel like that's a KenPom thing. I'm not so much about depth charts. This also looks like a floor lineup. Because you need play-by-play data to generate this stuff, and I don't go that deep. Yeah. All this right here is calculated by play-by-play data, absolutely. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it is. There's an unknown column right here, and if it didn't use play-by-play data, there wouldn't be an unknown column. So, yeah, this probably does use play-by-play data in substitution. I don't go that deep, so that's fine. But that's fine. I'm not trying to create another KenPom. I feel like KenPom is more for like coaches and basketball stat nerds. And my site's more geared toward the betting side of it. So, I'm going to tailor mine more for betting purposes. That's what my site's about, because otherwise, if I'm just making another KenPom, why would anyone go to my site, right? So mine's more about the betting concepts. So KenPom does have he does predictions. I think his algorithm I'm pretty sure KenPom's algorithm is the equivalent of my simple method. So my simple method is what he uses right here. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't do like a percentile type thing. Minutes matrix. Whoops. What's the minutes matrix? I click on it and nothing happens. Looks like how many minutes each player plays in. Yeah. So he has a great side. I'm not trying to create another Kempom. I'm just trying to show you what mine might do that he doesn't do. All right, let's check on this. So only 2 games in progress right now. So my plays is this first row up here. I went minus 1.1 tonight, but that doesn't count the Prairie View bet I made, which looks like I have Prairie View minus 2 and minus 1. Those 2 are going to put me over the top for the day, but I'm not going to, since I didn't put it on my website and my SBT play, since it's not here, because I had to run the model twice because when I ran it, it said the Prairie View game was canceled, and so that's why I took it out of here, and I didn't realize it till later that it wasn't canceled, and so I went ahead and bet it. But I'm not going to be that type of guy who like adds and removes plays on a whim. Since I didn't have it here for most of the day, I'm not going to add it in. But yeah. But it looks like, yeah, the Indy. So the Indy model is ranked number 1 right now. And this one's really been struggling. It's struggling, but tonight it finally had a good night. 6-1 against the spread, 5-2 on totals, and 6-1 on money lines. That's really good. The blender's been number 1 every day so far, but today it's number 5. The combo, number 2. So overall, every method except the ATM had a good night, winning night. Assuming that these contests hold, I'm going to go ahead and assign equal weight. See if the projections change when I do that. No, they stay the same. See, yeah. Unfortunately, the only total that was really whiffed on was this one right here. But yeah, every model went at least 5-2 on totals tonight. Every model was positive against the spread except the ATM. And the ATM, woof. The ATM had a bad night. Yeah, I mean, a lot to be excited about. All right. Yeah, the Temple SMU game, I watched it. That game was on this afternoon, and Temple scored like the last 5 points to cover that one. So if you were an SMU bettor there, you probably would have been mad because SMU basically was just running the clock out and letting the shot clock expire without taking a shot. And then Temple would go down the floor and either make a basket or go to the free throw line, and they backdoored that one. I mean, not only that, but it allowed the game to go over as well. Man, my screen turned off over here. This is where I have my chat. Yeah, Jack Fletcher, I agree that the MLB Hall of Fame has started to move to Hall of Very Good as well. I don't think there's some players that have gotten in that I don't think were Hall of Famers. Larry Walker, Mike Piazza. Okay, maybe those 2 were Hall of Famers, but Mike Messina is not a Hall of Famer. Who's my college basketball player of the year right now? Let's look. So where is that? This right here. So I do rank. I don't know if I have it in my. You know what? I need to add the column because I keep track of the stat for individual games, but I'm gonna add it in here because I have like what I call I guess a wins above replacement style stat for college basketball. I do calculate, but it's probably not going to be in the data frame I'm about to show you, but I can definitely add it real quick. Maybe. So whoops. Yeah, I don't have the stat in there, but I guess one way to approximate it would be ranking this. Right, this would be a good stat to use. Luka Garza, there you go. Yeah, he's number one in offensive efficiency, and he's probably it right now, to be honest with you. Like the thing with Gonzaga and especially Baylor's like good because of the sum of their parts and not one player, and pretty much the same with Gonzaga as well. But Iowa's like he's their guy, Luka Garza. But that's a ranking just based on stats. But I bet if I did the stat that I was talking about that I account for in individual games, that Luka Garza would probably be at the top anyway. All right, third quarter is starting. Harold Baines is not a Hall of Famer. My site is up. I haven't taken it down. When do I think I'll have that team pages up? I don't know, within the next couple of days. Total points lower on a second game of back-to-back. That's a good thing to look at. And first play is a first down run. I do think Tim Raines was a Hall of Famer, though. I don't know about Dale Murphy. I don't think Ryan Sandberg was a Hall of Famer. If he played for the White Sox instead of the Cubs, he's not a Hall of Famer. Ryan Sandberg. You know how many programming errors I find in my models? All the time. Crap, I had to pretty much reboot my website. Like, if I didn't find those errors in my model, I would have probably never rebooted my website. Ooh, Devontae Smith has an arm injury. All right, big third down here for Ohio State. Did he break a finger? I broke 2 fingers when I was at TCU, and they still never really healed all the way. I don't know if you can see the one I broke on this hand. Obviously, you can tell. And then this one, can you tell? Wrong way. And I broke both of them the same way. Catching kicks from the field goal kickers before games. One of them was before we played New Mexico my junior year, and the other one was before we played, who was it? Wyoming my senior year. Man, third down completion without Devontae Smith. It's sportsbettingtruth.com. All right, so they needed that third down stop, but still, like I said, if they can just hold them to I don't know, even if they just hold them to a field goal. Yeesh. They cannot stop a nosebleed tonight. Ugh. Yeah, this is hard to watch from someone who bet on Ohio State. Gotta admit, I didn't expect a blowout here. I didn't. Here they are blitzing again, and they got home, so it worked. But Pyrrhic victory if they can't get a force a fourth down. Second and 11. They got to take advantage of this, and they didn't. These slants and comebacks are killing them. It's harder than you like. They make the slants look easy, but they're a lot harder than you would think to complete consistently. They really are. Whole shot. Yeah, the only time Ohio State has stopped them tonight was when they forced the turnover on that blitz, that this outside linebacker blitz. They have not stopped them apart from that. All the time in the world. All right, another big third down. Yeah, Joseph Titus, that's always the hardest thing about NBA models is that even in seasons where there's no COVID, you never know what player you're going to get night to night. Because a lot of those guys don't take all the regular season games seriously, so if they don't, then you're screwed. That's why I do college basketball instead. I did NBA like 4 years ago, and it did really well at first, but then it just spiraled. Oh, they had him stopped in the backfield. They just couldn't finish the tackle. Yeah, Alabama's about to put this game away. NBA is a tough market. I mean, Ohio State has to force a field goal here, but I'm not getting my hopes up. They're providing no resistance. Oh, I thought that was defensive holding. And it was not. All right, another third down. I mean, if they force a field goal here, we have a chance. But is there anyone in this chat who's on Alabama? I'm a 16-team playoff proponent myself. I'm an advocate for reduced scholarships in a 16-team playoff. All right, third down. Oh, how did he hang on to that? How did he hang on to that? See, that's just bad luck on Ohio State's part right there. I mean, they defended that perfectly and it deflected right into his hands. Neither can I. Yeah, I'm a proponent of reduced scholarships and a 16-team playoff. Like the FCS does it. I'm surprised Alabama's kicking here because they could pretty much put the game away with a touchdown. So I'm surprised they're kicking. I'm surprised. I would have gone for it. It's the benefit of living here on the Pacific time zone is that you don't have to stay up late to watch these games. But the downside is like I have to get up early on Saturdays to run my college basketball model because games start at 9 a.m. And so there's so many games on Saturday. My college basketball game can do about 3 to 4 games a minute when it comes to all the 6 simulations. And so if there's 120 games, and that's a good 30 to 40 minutes of having to run it. So I have to get up early on Saturdays to get all my stuff in by the first games. And last year, I know I would often not even bother with the early games. Because even though my model last year is a lot less complex, it took longer to run. So if I didn't get up early enough, it wouldn't even be worth the time. I don't like how all March Madness games are in Indiana. I'm not a fan of all this COVID stuff. I'm not a fan of the limited fans and no fans and canceling games because a guy knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy that tested positive for COVID. I'm not a fan of all this. I think they should have had the NCAA tournament in Florida, Orlando, or wherever. Full capacity, no fan restrictions. But that's who I am. That's me. I'm still holding on to my prediction that the first sporting event we're going to have that has full capacity is going to be WrestleMania. You can get Ohio State at plus 21.5 right now. I mean, I'm already in at 11.5, so I'm not going to double down. Yeah, that happened to me a lot. I had to do some 6 a.m. conference calls back at my old job. It drove me crazy. So did he break a finger on his jersey? Probably just jammed it. Yeah, I'm not a, yeah, I hate, I mean, I would rather have some March Madness than no March Madness. I just want them to not mess with the format than anything. I don't care so much about fans or no fans as I care about, I don't want them to do what I've heard some people talking about they might do a 32-team field or a 48-team field. No, keep it at 68, or I guess, yeah, it's going to be 68. I guess I'll just have an extra at-large bid to account for the fact that the Ivy League's not playing. But, yeah, just don't mess with the format. Don't have a 48-team field, no 32-team field. Just keep it as it is. But what's going to drive me nuts is, like, what if there's a team that's making a good run and then, like, one of their guys gets COVID? Are they going to automatically make them forfeit? You know, that's what worries me as well. I feel like baseball is responsible for a lot of what we see. Because remember, originally baseball was really the first pro sport to come back, and they were like, okay, we have taxi squads, so if a player tests positive, they'll just quarantine and be replaced by somebody else. But that's not what happened. Like, if a player tested positive, they didn't just replace him. No, they shut the team down. Baseball set a bad precedent with that. If they had stuck with the original plan and just replaced the player who tested positive, then maybe we wouldn't see all these overreactions in the other sports. Yes, I bet here in Las Vegas. That's the thing. But here's the thing, all right? There have been hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of men and boys across the country that have played football of some sort this year, whether it be Pee Wee or junior high football or high school ball or college ball, professional. How many of these football players have been hospitalized from COVID? Zero? Yeah, zero. Zero. You know how I know it's zero? Because if there was one, we would have never heard the end of it from ESPN and the cable news networks and even the network news. NBC Nightly News would have led with a story of a football player being hospitalized from COVID. It didn't happen. These players are at zero risk. They have no risk from this virus at all. So I just don't understand the overreactions when it comes to sports. Liam Hendricks got traded to the White Sox. He's probably the best closer in baseball. Is that true? Why would the A's get rid of him, though? The A's were supposed to have a good year. Was it a trade or a free agent? I don't think he was a free agent, so that means the A's would have had to trade him. I'm looking this up. I hope you're not just pulling my leg here about Liam Hendricks, because the A's were supposed to have a good year. I don't see why they get rid of their best bullpen guy. Oh, yeah, he is a free agent, so that's why. I mean, the A's don't really sign free agents, so that's the thing. So, yeah, I can understand why they let him go. Ooh, if he stayed in bounds there. Have you heard Liam Hendricks talk? He sounds like Crocodile Dundee. My best pitch is my slider. Ooh, he is offsides. I'm going to be honest, though. If Alabama does win this, I'm sorry. I don't care what they say. This is going to be an asterisk championship and an asterisk season. Were they the best team? Yes. Would they probably have won it all if this was a normal season? Yeah, probably. But still, it's still an asterisk season. They haven't done enough of that tonight, the read option with Justin Fields. They finally do that, and they get a big gain with it. Like, where's that been all night? Oh, he's open. Touchdown. There we go. All right, we're back in this. We're back in this. Where was that all night? Oh, yeah, I think Justin Fields is better than Mac Jones. It's just Mac Jones has a slightly better supporting cast. But none of this matters if Ohio State can't get some stops. Can't wait to see what the new live line is. All right, so the live line just came up, and it is 17.5. Money line is not there. Total is 86.5. No money line is up yet. That's interesting. $17.5 here. I mean, it depends on how COVID messes you up, because I got it, and all I had was a rash. I didn't have any other symptoms, because I got a cold in 2016 when I got back from Las Vegas and was living in Seattle. I got some kind of cold, and I had no sense of taste or smell for like 2 or 3 weeks. Like, I couldn't taste or smell anything, but it came back. But I had nothing like that when I got COVID. All I had was a rash, it was kind of a scary looking rash, but it was harmless. I'm glad we haven't seen any dumb commercials tonight. Like, I don't watch the Super Bowl. I haven't watched the Super Bowl since 2003. But yeah, all the commercials that they were on for the Super Bowl, you'll see them afterwards, and they're all so stupid. Too many PSAs, too many touchy-feely, emotional bullcrap commercials. The one thing that's driven me nuts the most about this COVID era is all the commercials. Oh, we're here for you in these trying times. And blah, oh, spare me. Money line. Yeah, they haven't posted a money line on this. Only total, which is 86.5, and point spread, which is still 17.5. Why don't I watch the Super Bowl? It just doesn't interest me. I kind of I boycotted it in 2004, just as a joke, and I've been doing that every year ever since. Like, kind of crazy, right? I used to work on Super Bowl Sunday all the time, though. That's the thing. Back when I worked, I'd always work on that night. No, I don't. I have never watched a UFC or MMA fight before. I've never watched. And that's nothing against UFC or MMA. It just doesn't interest me. I'm more of a boxing guy. What wagering app am I using? Just the Westgate one. I don't know if you can see that. All right, that's a good start on first down. I mean, he didn't get a first down. They're trying to strip the ball, though. You can tell they're really trying to force turnovers, and I don't blame them. Do I bet on the Super Bowl? No, I haven't bet on an NFL game in years. I can't remember the last, maybe 2012, probably. Yeah, it's been years since I last bet on it. I just think I have a video about why I don't bet the NFL, and it's because I just think it's an impossible market to beat. All right, so big third down here. So Devontae Smith is not out there. All right, big third down. They're going to hand it off, I guarantee it. So Devontae Smith is out. Mm. That's what happens when you don't have enough. Oh, did he fumble it? I think the ground forced that, just based on what I saw. Yeah, ground forced it. And that was a dagger. Oh, of course they're going to review it. And that was a dagger, that third down right there. I mean, they had it defended well, but, you know, when you get no pressure. Yeah, that wasn't even close. I mean, I'd rather a guy play against, you know, I'm not a big fan of the guys who sit out bowl games and everything. I'm not. Yeah, it took me. Yeah, I scraped the NCAA data from the stats.ncaa.org website, Joseph Titus, but it's definitely a pain. I can tell you that. It took me, you know, I don't know how many days it took, but it took me. I'm not saying it took multiple days, but it was definitely a tedious process to be able to scrape the box score data, and there's so many intricacies along with it too that you have to account for. Like that might be the thing I'm most proud of on my college basketball model is my scraper because it was just there's so many things that you know. For example, like sometimes, like one of the teams, I think it's South Carolina State. Sometimes they enter in the players' names like normally, but then other times they enter the players' names in all capital letters. So, you know, you have to account for that. So I use player IDs. You know, I don't do it by player name, but I do it by player ID. You know, and then match the name later. But still, stuff like that. And like some box scores have like 20 columns, and other box scores have 21 columns because some box scores have a technical foul column and others don't. So you have to account for that. Um, yeah. So good luck, anyone who wants to scrape the NCAA website. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the opt outs and everything. I'm not. And it feels like it's a new these opt outs are like a new development, you know, that you know they've just recently started happening. But I feel like some players opt out not because they're a first round pick, but because they feel it's an ego thing. They're like, I'm gonna opt out because I think I'm bigger than a bowl game, you know. A bowl game's beneath me, so I'm gonna opt out. It's a way of peacocking. Exactly. Yeah, Joseph Titus. Exactly. Yeah, that's the type of stuff you. And it's not. It's. I got to give the NCAA stats.ncaa.org website credit. I got to give it credit because with 357 teams out there, you know, it could be very. You know, I'm surprised it's as consistent as it is. I am. Like these intricacies are pretty rare, but you know, you still have to account for them. But once you get all that in place, you're good to go. Man, Ohio State's defense is a disappointment. Yeah, that's why I think they need to expand the playoff to 16. All right. Well, Ohio State pretty much has to score this possession just to keep up with the Joneses. Yep. That's all in number 24 there. All right. Now what? Yeah, that's why I support scholarship reductions because honestly, you have teams like, honestly, I believe that the top teams in college football all cheat. They all pay their players. Let's be real here. But the 85 scholarships allow them to stockpile talent. If you reduce scholarships, then you would be able to spread the talent out a lot more. I mean, I think our TCU team in 2014 could have won the playoff if they were allowed to get in, but they didn't. But yeah, that was pretty much like a perfect storm. Because what really hurts the lower, middle, and lower tier teams is depth. Like, because that 2014 TCU team was really good, but I don't think people remember that we returned pretty much most of that team the next year, and we started the year ranked number 2. But the problem is our defensive starters dropped like flies. Like, pretty much our entire starting 11 got hurt. And so our defense suffered because we just didn't have the depth. Like, we had to play walk-ons and stuff. It was bad. And we couldn't just outscore teams, so we lost a couple games. So not only do these mid-tier and low-tier teams that might be able to contend, they have to have a perfect storm in terms of the roster, but they got to stay healthy. No, I haven't. I've only stuck to football, baseball, basketball. I've always wanted to do NHL, but like I said, it's. I don't think people understand the amount of maintenance and time it takes just to maintain a model, let alone build one. Like, building one's one thing, but it's not like you just build out a model and then you're done and you can move on to another one. No, you still have to maintain it and keep up with it and stuff. And so, if I built an NHL one, it would be just another thing that I have to work on. I would rather like be really good at 1 or 2 models than have 10 models that I don't give enough attention to. Yep, because Alabama can stockpile talent. Yep, they can stockpile talent. Like, LSU won it all last year, but they've recruited well for years. They always have a top recruiting class, so it's not like they came out of nowhere. I mean, I probably spend about. Well, here's how my college basketball model works. I probably spend about 10 minutes every morning just doing the daily maintenance with it, making sure, because you can't just like set it and forget it. You need different checkpoints in there to make sure everything's running smoothly with no errors. Because you don't want like an error to happen in your model that, you don't see because you're running it automatically every day, and that's messing up all your. So I have different checkpoints that I check on to make sure everything ran properly. And then you got to do the simulations themselves, right? The simulations themselves, like on a Saturday, it could take 30 to 40 minutes with all the games on a Saturday. And then you got to like actually place the bets, and I would say about an hour, 30 between 30 minutes to an hour of daily maintenance and routine work on my college basketball medal every day, right? And that's even with automating a lot of things. Same with baseball. And so, yeah, adding a different layer on top of that would just be even more complex. A fan giveaway? I don't know. Maybe one day. We'll see. How to fix college football? Like I said, reduce scholarships. Change the rules to shift things back toward defense because I feel like it's become too offensive friendly. 16-team playoff. I think that would help. Crack down on cheating. That'll never happen, but crack down on cheating. The reason they will never crack down on cheating is because the NCAA knows who their moneymakers are. I think the NCAA lets teams cheat to an extent. They're like, just don't cheat this much and you're fine. I have a video on fading the public, but no, it's not profitable. You're going to win more than you lose by fading the public, but you're not going to win enough to break a profit. Give away a car, yeah, right. I don't make that much money off this channel. Yeah, whoever said Master Teague is not a number one running back is correct. They gave it to him 3 times on that drive, and he did nothing. Yeah, this game's pretty much over. Like, they gave it to him 3 times on that drive, and he might have got like 2 yards total. I'm going to bring back my baseball model in May. Is any of my CBB model based on the 4 factors? Yes. I mean, it's not solely based on that stuff, but they play a major role. Although I don't use free throw rate, I use what I call shot rate free throw. It's basically a percentage of possessions that result in a free throw instead of free throws divided by field goal attempts. That's the difference. This game's over. Because Ohio State ran it on 4th down and didn't get it. I honestly like. I don't really like. I mean, I live here in Las Vegas, but I mean, it's not like I, you know, am out and about all day enjoying the city and everything. I haven't really left this part of town, in a while. The MVP of this game, probably Mac Jones. Yeah, if Alabama scores here, I'm gonna call it a night. No, I didn't do any prop bets on this game. I couldn't find any that I liked. Yeah, I'm from Texas. Yeah, I'm gonna call it a night if this Alabama scores here. No, I don't sell picks. My entire channel is built upon the base of saying touting is bad. No comment. I will say this: it is hard. It is hard to be on the dating scene here in Nevada because you don't know if the girl is a stripper or a prostitute or something like that. I don't know of any Donnie Gilbert. Yeah, I'll definitely pick it up during baseball. Probably won't start until May though. Oh man, I don't know why I'm tired. It's only 8:11, but I'm gonna call it a night on the stream. This game's over. All right, guys. I really appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. I'll be back. I'll probably do a college basketball live betting stream on Wednesday. Let me look at the lineup for Wednesday. I like to do it on days where there's a lot of games. Oh, yeah, looks like we got... there's an equal number of games tomorrow on Wednesday, it looks like. A little bit more on Wednesday. So, yeah, I'll do a college basketball live betting stream on Wednesday, and... I don't know. I'll probably have some sort of video tomorrow. Probably, maybe the Monte Carlo video. But yeah, I really appreciate it, everybody.